century building site.
When I first saw this building, I wasn't really sure what it was. It could have been a power station or perhaps a factory, certainly not an architect-designed building. Inside, it's an embodiment of all the things people got excited about in the 60s, when the building was conceived. About streets, walkways, and channels of communication, all the ordinary city functions. In the 60s, they'd have called this a concourse, a very 60s word. And it actually manages to be more like a street than most shopping centres. The architects must have been inspired by a mass of people passing through the veins of the building. Then to be fed into the main stands above and below. This feels just like flying. It's brilliant! If you look out there, doesn't it make you feel as though you're falling? It's full of spectacle. The stand is expectant even when it's empty. The roof is just flying straight out. It's leaping out towards the pitch like a panther and brings it right up close to us. I guess that any stand is a reminder of football tragedies like Bradford and Hillsborough. But even those awful memories can't take away from the energy here. I've always liked arenas. It's the excitement of a crowd focused on one event. The common feature of all stadia is that 95% of the architecture is formed by the people themselves. It's the people that make the event into architecture. The game is just like a piece of architecture. The markings of the pitch are like architectural plans drawn full size. The lines are like walls and the goals are doors. The game's got rules, just like any building. Only one piece of the planned stadium ever did get built. It's exactly because the whole project was never finished that it's got the sort of dynamism that you'd expect from something caught in the process of being made. In fact, I prefer the building as a slightly unrealized set piece. Perfection should not necessarily be the aim of design. Often it has the effect of deadening the product instead of bringing it to life. There was going to be a gymnasium, a swimming pool, and a market. It was going to be used for pop concerts and God knows what else. It was all part of the optimism of the 60s when it was planned, which in the end was put down by the miserable economic realities of the 70s when it was built. And there are still more plans today, but not, to my mind, with the same civic idealism of the original scheme. I think that the vision that the club and Darbourne and Dark had was really courageous, even though football legend has it that the East Stand put the club into the second division. There are a lot of powerful details that I really like. 170 feet up, the gutters are cleared electronically. Very thoughtful. The beams are pre-weathered steel, so they never need painting. The building was ready rusted from the start. It was intended that forced warm air would squirt out from underneath every one of the 12,000 seats. What a waste to make all those holes and never use them. plastic sheets are fixed underneath the roof structure instead of on top, so the pigeons have got nowhere to roost and can't shit on the people. I like the practical thinking here, but the effect is to make the roof so light you feel suspended. The seats at the top are at a 35-degree rake, which is much steeper than most stands, in fact the same as a theatre. The steepness of it brings you closer to what's going on. This is like an auditorium of a theatre. The pitch is the stage, but here is another stage too when you look back. They're focused on each other, as big and intense as each other. As if at the theatre, the architects have provided lots of private boxes for the rich. I particularly like this one, it's like a screenless den. If we're watching a match from here, I think it's a bit like watching it on television. The concrete parts of the building hold up the terraces, and slotted into this labyrinthine metropolis are all the service spaces. The players are down in the bowels, plotting their manoeuvres. The top knobs have their tables reserved upstairs. Looking at the smarter parts of the building, you can see that the clients wanted clear grades of luxury, which I think goes against the basic directness of the design. When the building plays absolutely into the hands of convention, it loses its nerve. This bar's pretty tacky with all that brass, and the spectacular view behind me is spoiled rather by the windows that are so obviously difficult to keep clean. Anyhow, I much prefer it on the terraces. If you don't go to football, you can't know what the whole thing is about. There's a staged war going on, and the spectators are part of it. It's like a gladiator fight.
So is Dixon speedy? Yes!
It's what ancient Rome must have been about. Most people wouldn't think of this as architecture, let alone architecture worth celebrating. But it's forthright, yet not aloof. And the football event is the key to the building. I'm tired of timid buildings, like so many new ones desperately trying to be old or to fit in. Until everybody, that is architects, the public and the people that pay, stop being embarrassed by architecture, there's no hope for it. Architecture is our culture. More than ever before, architecture should be allowed to have real personality, to release a sort of energy. And I think this is a pretty good example.
Taylor through to Dolling. Dolling right through the central penalty area for Roger. And in goes Lawton. Lawton hooks the ball right out of Hovic's hands. He comes back to Lawton, a header, and a header. Goal! A beautiful goal by Lawton. What a goal! Justice for the pass through. Dixon's touch. Wilson to Nevin. Nevin's chip. Dury! Villeray for Chelsea. And here's Walker, and there's Pates, and a chance then, but oh, it's there! Alan Mays gets one back. He's got Rhodes Brown to his left. He drives it, oh, what a goal! Villeray produces the goal that matters for Chelsea. And here's Kerry Dixon with a great chance. And somehow he's made it.
On Sunday at 6:20, Mural Grey discusses the buildings which have become the environmental finalists